How many of you know if you've got daddy issues? Now, how do you unpack the baggage of not having a relationship with your daddy? In this world that we're living right now, there's a lot of broken families. These are homes whereby you realize that the head of the home has got issues. Now, issues like past issues, maybe he's broken as well. And he doesn't really know how to put his family together because he's broken himself. He doesn't know how to help himself or connect with his children. He will raise his children the way he knows. Whether it's right or wrong, he doesn't know because that's how he was raised as well. When it comes to the children, they don't say anything bad about their daddy. This issue may start from the foundation. If the dad is broken, it may affect the whole family. If he doesn't know how to help himself, then only God can help him. The most important part of the house is the foundation. If the foundation is not right, the whole house will collapse. When your foundation is not laid properly, it may affect your thoughts and the way you see yourself and the people that you bring into your space. It may affect you as a child as well. You may not see it when you're a child because everything when it comes to your dad is right. But as you are growing up, you begin to see the patterns that you saw in your dad. Maybe you've been raised by a single woman who played a part of being a father and a mother in your life. There's so many children out there that have been raised by a single parent. And those children have done so well for themselves today. Sometimes it can be difficult as a single parent. It's not just only the fathers, maybe even the mothers play a role as well. As mothers, we aren't perfect either. We may have contributed in the upbringing of the child. We may also have contributed fear and anger on the children because their father left. Maybe fear of how am I going to raise this child on my own. Some fathers leave as soon as they find out that you're pregnant and they would run as far as they can. For some, they're available in the physical and they're providing everything for their children. All they're doing is just working and providing for their family because that's what they are taught. They were taught to be a provider in the home without realizing that as much as you're working very hard to put food on the table, you also need to be available emotionally. In Proverbs 22 verse 6, it says, "Train a child the way he should go. Even when he grows up, he won't depart from it." When you look at this verse, it talks about training a child the way you should in order for them to use the training to their children as well. But when the dad is not available, you lack that daughter and father training, and the mother has to end up doing everything. The problem is, do you know how well you are trained for you to be able to train your children? Your children will learn everything from you. If you are hardly home and less available for them, they will learn that from you. Some will learn not to follow their father's footsteps, especially if the father has been in prison. They will learn from those mistakes. For some, this pattern follows them and they will end up in prison as well. In other countries, there's a high percentage of fathers that end up in jail. These children end up being raised by uncles. This affects the children so much and emotionally. Look at David in the Bible, who committed adultery. His life ended up in regret. It didn't just end there. His son Amnon raped his sister Tamar. This was another sin that came up to haunt him after the third or fourth generation. And not just that, his son Absalom went and killed his brother because he wanted to revenge on what was done to his sister Tamar. This is a pattern that a lot of fathers don't realize the impact that may affect their children's lives. Fathers are an example of being the round figure of the home. If they are not available, it affects the children in the home and it also creates obstacles. They begin to follow a very unhealthy pattern, such as trust issues. It starts when they grow up. Maybe the dad will promise their child that they will visit them or maybe buy something, and this never happens. The child begins to get so used to it that nothing that he does, they will believe. They begin to defend their hearts by distancing themselves, and they find themselves keeping other people at arm's length because it's a safe way to protect their heart. This may affect their relationships, especially when it comes to female children. They begin to attract what they don't want and they end up falling for the wrong men. They find themselves attracting the same kind of men as well, men that are like their fathers. Sometimes they would even develop these anger issues because of this foundation that was never dealt with. They don't set themselves boundaries. When you have a dad in your life, Your dad is supposed to be there to help you build your self-esteem and your confidence as well, so that you can set boundaries as well, even when it comes to the type of man that you want to marry. And if you don't set those boundaries, you'll end up attracting the same attributes as your father. Even though you are not looking for a father figure, you will attract this man that will fill up the void that was missing in you. Don't compromise your boundaries just because you feel that he loves you and he fills the void that you're missing. This is when you begin to have unhealthy relationships. This is when you start attracting older men because you want to fill that vacuum. You are aware that this relationship comes with benefits. Maybe this person is even married and has kids that are even your age. Just because you think it's love, you're aware of the situation and you become very comfortable with the whole thing. You even call him daddy. In some African cultures, they call their spouses daddy. It's a form of respect to their spouse. But for some, it's just a pet man, and some men enjoy being called that. Maybe for you, you see him as a dad. He takes care of you. He's filling all the gap that was missing in a dad. You begin to put him on this pedestal as a provider that you never had. He becomes your idol. Instead of idolizing God that created you, you begin to idolize this man. Sometimes it may end up being toxic, especially if he's aware that you've put him on this pedestal. He may end up abusing you as well. That is why you need to love yourself. It's very important to learn to love yourself. Avoid thinking that when it comes to love is giving your body to your partner in order to prove to him that you love him. You may attract the wrong man, the man that thinks you're more of a bedroom material than a wife material. When you learn to love yourself, you protect yourself. You learn to attract love than attracting lust. So don't let your daily issues mislead you and attract the wrong kind. In Genesis 1 verse 27 reads, "So God created mankind from his own image." So you are created in the image of God. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're not worthy. Just because your father wasn't there doesn't change anything. You are a daughter of a king of the Most High. Your father, who was never there, is just your earthly father that God chose for him to become your daddy. He may not have been there to fulfill his earthly duties, or may have chosen not to be there for you, but you just need to learn to forgive him. He may have had issues that he needs to deal with that he didn't know how to deal with. It goes back to his training as well. He could have been from a broken home as well, and he didn't know how to deal with his situation before you came into the picture. There's a lot of fathers that are broken, that are raising broken children as well. Your Father in heaven is there. He will heal you, so you need to make up that decision and decide who's your daddy. Thank you for watching. If this is content that you like, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you on the next video. God bless you.